What's going on, guys? So today's topic that I really want to talk about is how to use pain as motivation, or what I like to call it as the driving force. And I want to give you guys a little background. I've never talked about this before. My life ever since getting out of the military back in 2022 has been an absolute mess. And the reason why I wanted to come on here and talk about these kinds of things is because the last thing that I want you guys to think while watching my content, or follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube, to think that Spencer Lewis has it all figured out, because that is so far from the truth. And every single day I'm trying to figure this thing we call life out, and it's hard. And I'm sure that you guys are going to be able to relate to this, not necessarily to the exact same thing, at least I hope not, but pain is the same for everybody. You know what I mean? Just one person's incident and my incident versus your incident, there are no different pain levels, and one is not harder than the other. Pain is a similar thing no matter what the situation is. And a lot of the times, the pain from whatever situation that you're going through can turn you into somebody that you truly don't want to be, where you just stop really caring about what is going on in your life and the purpose of your life, and you stop really caring about doing something with your life. And I've felt that plenty of times. I've felt like, what is the point of all of this? And I'll tell you when it really, really started. And that was my transition out of the military, and then what followed immediately after that. So I got out of the military in February of 2022, and the job that I was doing was a Special Forces, or better known as Green Beret. And that was my dream to do. Ever since I graduated high school, that is what I wanted to do, and I wasn't going to let anything get in the way of that. And I was in the military for a total of 8 years, and the first couple years were in the 82nd Airborne, and then I did the Special Forces qualification course after getting selected, and then I spent the rest of the time in my Special Forces group, 7th group specifically, down in Destin, Florida. And when I got out, I thought that that's what I wanted, and I thought that I was going to be able to close that chapter and move on, and that wasn't the case. I had lost my identity. I had lost who I was. All I cared about was that job. And so when I got out in February 2022, I was like a puppy at the pound, just looking for a home to go to and a place to go to. So a couple months after that, I'm trying to figure out this civilian life, and April is when I started going through a divorce. And I'm going to leave her name out of this because this is a legal battle that's still ongoing, and it started in 2022. Now, divorces happen all the time, right? My parents got divorced. Many of you guys are a family of divorced family, and so a lot of you guys can just relate just on that, and how much pain and life-changing a divorce can be. Now, there are ways, and some people can handle it cordially, and it's not too big of a deal. My situation, the reason why it's hard is because of my kids. And it's been close to 1,000 days now, and since April of 2022, I've only had my kids for close to 100 days actually overnight. And I have no criminal record. I have no background of hurting anybody. There's not anything that you could find on me that would institute that my kids get taken away, right? The reason why it's so hard is because for the past almost 3 years now, I've been fighting tooth and nail with lawyers to try to get 50-50, right? And those details don't really matter too much. The most important thing that I want to talk about is the 3 years of that has caused just tremendous emotional trauma, and it's changed my perception of people, meaning like I've become this person while going through this to where I don't trust anybody, and I don't let anybody get close to me. I don't necessarily want any new friends because I cannot build that trust and allow myself to trust somebody, mainly because of this situation. And so for the past 3 years, I've had to figure out how to not fall apart. I miss my kids more than anything. They are my best friends. I have 3 of them. One, unfortunately, and someday I'm sure she'll watch this, I've missed 10 years of her life because of where she lives at. The entire time that I was in the military, I had this guilt, and I still do, of not being a good father because my career path made me go somewhere other than being with her. And I felt like a loser. I felt like a complete letdown. And when I was a kid, I envisioned myself, just like I'm sure you guys do, as a parent and as a father. And my ability to show up for her is nowhere near how I want it to be. And I wish that I could be with her every single day. Unfortunately, that's just not, the case. I am not in the same state that she's in. And so with this one, with my 2 kids that live here, I've felt that same thing, like a complete letdown, and it has not been my choice. None of these actions, none of these things, me seeing them only 100 days in the past 1,000 days, is not my choice. And the way that this country is, and the way that the legal system, fathers are at the last of the worries for kids. Why? I have no idea. And that is what is the hardest thing for me to accept, and I still battle that every single day, of why do dads not get taken serious in these situations? How is the mother more important than the father? Because in my kids' eyes, that's not how they see it. And the main point here is I want to talk about the things that I've been able to continue to do while still going through this, and how I've been able to manage it. And the first thing I'm going to say is that every day is different. I feel like every single day that I wake up, I could be in a great mood, or I could be in a mood that is completely stuck on this situation, and I'm completely engulfed in it, and that's all that I can think about. And during those days is when I rely heavy on my training, and I just look forward to getting out to do training, whether it's a run or strength, so that way I have something else to focus on. And I believe that this helps a lot, and I hope that you guys take this advice, that like going through any sort of situation where you are just in insane amount of pain emotionally, you have to figure out a way to channel that, whether it's anger, pain, frustration, and you have to take it towards something positive. You can't say that me working on my physical ability and me challenging myself to do these races and to get stronger and faster is a bad thing. Nobody will ever tell you that. Now, the typical way that I've seen people deal with these kind of situations is the number one thing that they give up is their fitness, is their nutrition, is caring about being a healthy individual, living a healthy lifestyle. Instead, they usually change to drugs and alcohol. And that's what they use to get through this entire situation. And the unfortunate part is that getting out of that hole and getting out of that dark place where you rely on drugs and alcohol to get you through a situation is something that I have witnessed myself and some family members never able to get out of that hole, and they are stuck in there for the rest of their time. It's a hard hole to dig yourself out of. And so do not go chasing drugs, go chasing alcohol, go chasing something that you know is not good for you in order to get through this time of pain and misery. My advice is to take all of that anger and all of that pain and drive it towards something positive. And I have not just used training and working out as an outlet. My company, Alpha Country Training and Nutrition, has been a huge way for me to talk to people, for me to help them out, even though I'm struggling. These things that I have experience with and knowledge on, I could easily be like, you know what, I don't feel like taking the time to share these lessons learned and just block or ignore the message. Instead, I've been taking the time to be like, all right, I'm in this much pain emotionally, I need to do something positive. I have to. If I just keep staying on this negative path and I just keep thinking negative about everything, I'm going to fall into this negative mindset, this negative lifestyle, and that's going to be another very, very hard hole to get myself out of. And so a lot of people go through trauma. A lot of people go through all sorts of things in life. And I don't do anything special. I just wake up every single day and I focus on my training, and I focus on my company that I'm trying to build. I focus on my personal development. I focus on getting closer with God, and not just on Sundays. I'm somebody that for 28, 29 years, I didn't care about building my relationship with God. And so I'm brand new. I'm brand new on trying to learn the stories, trying to learn the history, trying to learn, who does God want us to be like? He created us. Now, who does he want us to be like? And how does he want us to live our lives? And that's all something that I'm learning right now. I don't have, any special background in it. And it's just something that I know that is something positive that I can put my attention on instead of worrying about this situation that I'm going through, missing my kids and all that. Now, I'll never let any of that get in the way of fighting for what I love and who I want to be around and to do what's right. But I know that I can't just sit here and dwell in this situation. I can't just sit here and beat myself up over what has happened, because I've done that and it left me just in a hopeless place. And with this situation specifically, there is nothing that I can do. I'm not in control of that. But what I am in control of is my actions that I do on a day-to-day basis, and it's either one side or the other. Either I'm going to fall into drugs and alcohol and I'm going to go down that, deep dark path to where I'm numbing myself and the days are passing by and I'm just staying stagnant, actually going down. Or I can choose the other route, which is a lot harder, but it is worth it. And that's focusing on how I can make myself better on a day-to-day basis. Whether that's reading books, whether that's challenging myself with, just cold plunging is a challenge for me. I don't want to get in that cold water, I don't want to necessarily go run 3 hours. I don't always want to ride the bike for multiple hours. But I know that is bettering myself versus the alternative route where I'm just using these, drugs and alcohol to get me through and numb me through it. Instead, I'm channeling all of my pain and really just bad emotions towards a specific goal. And I don't know any other way to do it. Sitting here crying about it and sitting here telling every single person about what's going on in my life and looking for some sort of sympathy, it doesn't get you anywhere. It It just doesn't. Nothing that that person can do. They could say exactly what you need to hear them say, and like how sorry they are and how much they feel bad for you, and they couldn't understand the situation and all this stuff. Dude, it doesn't make you feel any better whatsoever at all. And instead, when you're going through your absolute darkest times, who you really need to focus on and what you really need to focus on is you. And that's what I've found to work. And I wanted to share that with you guys because it's been a long 3 years. And I've been able to find myself again through challenges. And when I'm saying challenges, I'm not talking about, an event. I'm talking about the day-to-day challenges. Me getting up to go work out, me getting up to go run, me getting up to go do something that isn't necessarily comfortable versus just staying in a comfortable bed and waking up 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night and being, or in the morning and hoping, that my day is decent. That's just not a way to live. And there's nothing else for me to really say other than if you're finding yourself in a situation that you feel hopeless in, you feel like you don't have any control of, you do have control. And you have control into what you do on a day-to-day basis. And if you just focus on that, the time will pass. The time is going to pass whether you're improving yourself or you're just digging yourself down. Time is going to pass. And eventually that situation is going to be over. And eventually that situation does get better. And so when you get past that and when you overcome that situation, you got to ask yourself, this is what I ask myself. Who do I want to be at the end of this? I don't necessarily know when the end is going to come, but I know that eventually this will be over. And when I look back at this situation and I look back at how I handled this situation, I want to be proud of myself and how I didn't just dig myself into a hole. And now I'm at the end of this situation and I'm going to figure out and going to tell myself all these lies about how I'm going to change now. The change starts during the storm. And if you can just continue to go one foot in front of the other, one single day at a time, not worried about weeks later, months later, but the day that you're in, you can continue to move forward and you continue to grow and you can continue to be the person that you want to become. We all have a vision of who we want to be, the things that we want to accomplish, and sitting there and feeling sorry for yourself and going down this dark path is not the way. The way is to focus on yourself and improve yourself day by day. Dive into training, dive into personal development, get a coach. Get a coach to where you can tell them your goals and you can get the guidance that you need in order to achieve that goal. And then once you achieve it, you set a new one. And you just keep going until you're out of that storm. But the last thing that you can do is go backwards or just start digging yourself in a deep ass hole from doing the things that you know you're not supposed to do. So this is how I handle going through pain and how I harness it and I put it in a positive direction. So that's all I got for you guys. Appreciate you.